Hello, everybody. My name is meteorologist Hutch Johnson. We have some big and stormy weather that's working its way through. We have snow that's pounding the high plains outside of the eastern plains of Colorado. That's going to dive south. Severe weather risk the next couple of days, both Thursday, again on Friday, and for some, all the way into your Saturday. We're going to go over all of it. It begins right now with a look at what we have going on with regards to our risk for severe weather and the radar. Let's get started with a look at that. Now, across the nation, we have the snow taking place from the mountains of Wyoming, Colorado, and Nebraska. Look at South Dakota and the Black Hills as well, as low pressure is exiting the Rockies and really pounding places in the high plains outside of northeast Colorado, heading into Nebraska and Kansas right now as well. In the deep south, some strong storms are firing. We have hail. We have severe thunderstorm watches in a place, as these storms have produced 1.5-inch diameter hail right there on the Oklahoma border with Texas. So that's the storm outlook right now. These storms are continuing to percolate through the region. Now let's take a look at our risks for tonight's thunderstorms. And to do that, we're going to pop up our look at the Storm Prediction Center's outlook. Now, the yellow areas here, that's a level 2 on a 5-level scale of where we have a chance at seeing some severe weather tonight. Now, the main risk tonight will be hail, but all modes of severe weather will be possible. This is from North Texas all the way in through most of central Oklahoma and all the way into the west central reaches of Missouri, not far from Joplin. A couple of different areas of enhanced severe thunderstorm activity today, with the risk of hail being quite large for some, very large hail. And again, there is some spin in the atmosphere, and the Storm Prediction Center has a highlight for us on that as well. As I go through, if you feel the need, go ahead and drop me a line. Let me know where you're watching from. And if you have a question that's specific, I'd be happy to do my best to answer that for you as well. And again, the risk of severe weather in the deep south for the night tonight. Now, here's a look at the specific risks with regards to tornadoes. Now, the risk isn't large, and it isn't a large area, but we do have a 2% risk of tornadoes through parts of western and central Oklahoma. Where we see these brown circles, that is a 5% risk there as we take our hours into the night. So central Texas, an enhanced risk of a few spin-ups there, as well as in the early onset of storms, we could see some right along the Oklahoma and Kansas border heading into the night. So again, there is that tornado risk. Those are the highlighted areas. Now, in those similar areas on the border here with Oklahoma and Kansas, as well as parts of central Texas where you see the black hatched areas, that's a significant risk of very large hail potential tonight. So over 2-inch diameter hail will be possible from a few of these storms as they get really burping up into the atmosphere. And then as they continue all the way through the overnight, these will be nocturnal storms as well. They'll become more of a straight line wind threat as well as they go through. So let's take a look at that as we go through the night tonight. We'll go back to the radar and show you a couple of things that are taking place heading into the evening hours. For that, we'll get on to the single site radar sites here so we can pop a look at, let's take a look at where the hail has been reported with these storms already. So we have temperatures on the north side here that are in the 70s outside of the Memphis area. We get down a little bit closer north of Vernon and Altus. We have a very stout thunderstorm taking place right now in this area. Now we'll go ahead and pop up the warnings on here so you can see we do have alerts, including a severe thunderstorm watch for much of the area. And that, based on what the Weather Service is saying here, is in effect until 10 o'clock Central Standard Time. Very large hail is going to be likely over 2 inches in diameter, and we cannot rule out those tornadoes. A few of them will be possible, but the 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts will also be eye-awakening indeed. Now, the storm that we just zoomed into, that one is a severe thunderstorm warning for the Altus area. And we can dial this one in so you can see the movement of the storm basically working its way off from the south and moving almost due north. Again, on these storms, the risk of the gusty straight line winds. And if there is going to be a tornado risk, it'll be in the early onset of storms here, as they are isolated in nature right now, but are expected to become more widespread. There is another active severe thunderstorm warning with this cell heading in the general direction of Magnum. And now down a little bit farther south, closer to Dallas, I'll switch the radar over here so we can try to get a better view into the storm out here just north of the Grayford area. This one has a little kidney bean shape to it out here, a little bit of a hail producer on, well, that's Highway 281, US Highway 281. north of the Mineral Wells area. That storm also moving off to the north. Look at Dallas-Fort Worth with a pretty large cluster of storms slowly working its way east towards the Mesquite area. And this storm system has what I would like to say is a backwards C shape to it, or an outflow. More linear straight line wind gusts out of this puppy could be very strong in Rockwell. So that one not warned for at this particular juncture, but it certainly is indeed a stout line of thunderstorms with some gusty wind potential. So let's take a look now at what we have going on elsewhere as we look to the north. So this is our risk tonight. We showed you the area of concern. We'll look a little bit at the forecast model here, showing you the timing of these storms. It does look like we have an active tornado warning up here. So let's get on to that one. Not far from the Coffeyville, Kansas area. Looks like the closest radar I might be able to dial into is going to be both Wichita as well as the one down here in the Tulsa area. Okay, so this particular thunderstorm here showing a radar indicated, let's see, tornado warning, radar indicated 1-inch diameter hail potential from this cell that is working its way along the border there until 6:15 Central Time, so for the next 15 minutes. And it is capable of a tornado. It was located near Peru, and it's moving east at 20 miles per hour. That's a pretty slow mover there, folks, as well. Now, a closer look at the radar. I'll show you where the spin is being picked up. This is an awful long way away from the radar sites, though. We want to keep that in mind. So some of this velocity data may not be too great at identifying the spin or rotation in this storm. We are seeing it, and because it's so far away from the radar, this spin would be in the higher levels of the cloud. We do have motion away from the radar there in Tulsa in reds and toward the radar in green. So it looks like that rotation in this particular cell is right here with motion away or southerly wind there in the storm near the Caney area. And as we look here, motion toward the radar that's down in Tulsa here. Now, one thing that we can do is kind of use dual Dopplers to take a look at this. So that's what Hutch will do right now, as we'll dial into that look from the north radar up here a little bit closer to the Wichita area. So let's pull that radar and see if we're getting any displays that are similar in location. And indeed, we do have motion toward the radar in green right here. Again, that Caney area is in that area of rotation, and motion away from the radar here. So that is where the rotation or the couplet is showing up on the Doppler radar, and that is the storm threat at this particular time. So that's the risk that's going on in the south. We do have that isolated tornado threat. This is outside of the Coffeyville area in Kansas. The storm is moving east at 20 miles per hour. Let me give you guys a little bit of a look at the motion of the storm. So if this is the motion of the storm and this is where the rotation is, loosely moving at about 20 miles per hour, it is only about 20 miles away from Coffeyville, Kansas, if the rotation holds together. So it'll be there in about 45 minutes. Let's go ahead and time this out for you with the rotating couplet here. And we'll go ahead and put it at about 24 miles per hour. If you've watched Hutch before, I like to add a little bit of velocity to these because there is a delay in timing and when you get these warnings. So again, the West Coffeyville area will be seeing this storm system that's rotating, working its way in within the next 30 to 35 minutes. So keep that in mind. Again, I invite you to drop a comment. Let me know where you're watching from. It's good to have you on board here tonight as we are watching some severe weather develop in the deep south after a nice little quiet break is taking place for our neighbors on the west coast for tonight. Now, we do have a risk of some severe weather carrying ourselves into what we call day 2 or tomorrow, your Friday. So these storms will last all night long and then continue to redevelop in the afternoon heat of the day. And this is the area of concern where you see the yellow that does include the hills in Texas on the east side, most of Louisiana, minus the deep south right on the Gulf Coast and the Mississippi Delta right through Mississippi and into Alabama. The yellow areas were the best chance at seeing some scattered to maybe widespread severe thunderstorm activity as we go through Friday afternoon and evening. And then even into Saturday, these storm systems redevelop in the coast. The southeast coast will have a chance at severe weather. Let's talk a little bit about the risks that will be involved with this particular system and when for tomorrow. So there is a 5% chance. That's a pretty good chance of seeing a tornado. What a 5% chance means is that there is a 5% chance that if you are within any point that within 30 miles of that point, if you're inside the circle, you're going to have the potential for a tornado. Christopher Wright, good to have you watching on. We're on traveling east on I-90 as you're working your way through. I'm not sure if you're in this snow event there, Chris, but it's good to have you on board. I do know that there is some snowy weather heading its way in portions of South Dakota. So if you're on that stretch of road, that's one thing to watch out for you. So tornado risk. This is for Friday, not tonight's storms. I don't want that to get confused. Now, there is an enhanced risk of hail again, a significant risk of hail, northern and western Louisiana, down there at the Arklatex, if you will, Arkansas and Texas, all in that window of seeing significant sized hail. And that means damaging wind could also be a risk as well. So those are the risks with regards to that. And tomorrow's outbreak of severe weather. Now let's check out this snow system that's working its way out of the Rockies. And then we'll time these thunderstorms for you. All that is coming up next. But to do this, I'm going to load up a look at that radar once again. And we're going to pop a look at the latest regional radar. I'm popping that up. And then let me put down here. Okay, here we go. We're ready to go. Thanks for your patience with myself as we get things loaded up. We do have winter storm warnings in parts of the plains of Colorado. The blue counties you see here are winter weather advisories. So from Ogallala to the North Platte area, a band of heavy snow. But out in Ray, Colorado, that is a big-time heavy band of snow there. And these snow systems are really giving a punch to the eastern plains. Cheyenne, a winter storm warning outside of you on that I-80 stretch right there through the saddle of the Rockies out west of Cheyenne. That road between Laramie and Cheyenne is very, very well known for some nasty, gusty winds. So be aware of that. Now, let me take you inside the storm and let's take a look at what's going on with actual roads out there real quickly. And we'll check in on the area of Colorado first. And I do want to point out that these road reports are from the DOT 511. You can get this information on your phone or anywhere by looking up the 511 directory. Now, again, the plains way out here on the border with Kansas and also into Nebraska on the 76 corridor. Looked like there was a road closed here earlier. They've got that opened up, but check out this snowplow. Let's see if that camera can give us a look. Yep, you're in the plow truck here, and this is a look at some of the road camera stuff out there in easternmost Colorado by Holyoke. Okay, this is way out there. And you know, nobody wants to drive in that. So that's some nasty conditions out there. Winter storm warning, roads completely covered with a very heavy wet snow. March is Colorado's snowiest month of the year, by the way. So keep that in mind. This is one of them heavy, wet, nobody loves to shovel kind of snows. I can check in and take you into what's going on in Nebraska as well. If you're traveling off in that area, there is some significant snow impacting the roads. Do I have that? Yes, I do have that. It's all preloaded and ready to rock. It's ready to roll. Here we go. We go down into the southwestern quadrant of Nebraska here within that Colorado border area. The purple roads here, if we look at the legend, indicate completely covered roads. So we're talking about south of I-80 here, folks, in this Grant area here. Just look at this nonsense. Who wants to go ahead and try to drive in that? Not this kid. I'd rather stay home if I could. And look at the slushiness of that road. So that's definitely going to impact your speed. Make sure you have a survival kit if you're traveling in this nonsense, and be prepared for the next few hours for it to work its way eastward and into parts of south central Nebraska as well. Now, it's raining there, and the wet roads continue to turn white as you get farther out to the west. So here's another look at that radar as we head into the evening hours. This snow, as we loop it, is working its way off to the east. And again, the gusty winds are associated with it, with heavy, wet snow impacting traffic and travel there. Now, let's get to your forecast model. To do that, I'm going to load up a model right now. We're going to get back to this storm prediction and look at where this snow goes. I think there'll be a chance in the in the panhandles of Texas, as well as the panhandles of Nebraska and down south into Oklahoma for seeing some of this wintry weather. Here we go. Let's put up a composite radar that also includes the wintry type of precipitation, so we can see where snow and rain will interact. Now, here is a look at the region, and as we step through time on this, from tonight, the snow will continue its way, spinning through Kearney, Nebraska, northwest parts of Kansas. This model's just coming in. Bear with me while I load in one that goes out just a pinch further in time here for us so we can get out and get the timing of these storms. So there's your snow batch working its way into North Texas, and parts of Oklahoma will see some wintry mix as well. So this is going to bring cold after the severe thunderstorms. The severe thunderstorm watch is here in Texas. So now as we time tonight's storms, they are firing now, working their way through places like Altus and Oklahoma City and heading out toward the Coffeyville, Kansas area right now. This is where we're going to have that wind threat, that huge hail threat. Then as we get into the late night hours, likely things will become more linear. The time stamp, let me put the time stamp on your model here so you can see up at the top bar. Pardon me. Around the midday hour is when these storms will have their best chance. Excuse me, this is midnight hour. They'll be moving their way through the Tulsa area and beyond. Now, they continue to work their way through, and another batch of stout storms will develop in West Texas tonight as an upper level piece of energy works its way. Chris Wright says lots of trucks and vehicles down on I-80 between Sydney and North Platte decided to go north and took 83 to I-90. Much, much better. Good idea, Chris. Sometimes you got to be aware of that weather before you try driving through this kind of weather this time of the year. Overnight, as we get into the deep hours of the overnight and heading towards daybreak, Texas, the Dallas-Fort Worth area, you have storms moving through now. These are going to visit you as you get towards daybreak. They, too, could be windy, and some could still have a little bit of hail with those as well. So the big event, the main event, is taking place now into the early night, and we will have a chance for some strong storms into the overnight. These move into northern parts of Louisiana as we get into the portion of the morning hours. Little Rock, Arkansas, Pine Bluff, Arkansas. It looks like a wet start to your day. Continuing through, and as we go into the day on Friday, watch what happens with the storms in the afternoon then. As we get into the heating of the day, they start getting a little bit of punch and robustness to them. Northern portions of Louisiana, northern parts of Mississippi, central Mississippi, Jackson, and points north towards Birmingham will all have a chance at seeing some stout thunderstorm development in the afternoon. Again, all modes of severe weather will be possible again for tomorrow. And as we look at your Friday forecast, this is at 2 p.m. on Friday. We have more wet rain making its way through the panhandles of Oklahoma and Texas. The risk of severe here, not as great, but look at where the snow is. We're talking Amarillo up towards Pampa and all the way up into the, it looks like, Perryton area and Woodward. So this snow, if we carry this through, kind of sneaks its way towards Oklahoma City. A brief shot, not certainly a prolonged event here, but certainly what a change from the 70s and then snow. Yeah, that's slap your face kind of weather right there. Now, these storms will continue as we go through Friday and into Saturday, and then the Saturday storms will refire in the afternoon on your Saturday. So 3 days of severe weather beginning today, Friday, and then again on Saturday through the deep south. The snow, by the way, as we head into the day on Saturday and into Sunday, does look like it warms up and becomes all rain. So we have snow in the plains of Colorado and working its way off into the high plains of Nebraska and Kansas tonight. We have severe thunderstorms in Oklahoma, in Texas, as well as parts of Kansas. Right now, the Coffeyville, Kansas area with that tornado warning. That's a look at the weather across the nation. I am meteorologist Hutch Johnson. It's a pleasure having you on board. If you liked what you saw here, go ahead and, I love having the likes on the video, and then please consider subscribing as well. I'll be back with updates on this as the weather tonight will be a little bit bumpy and a little dicey, and I hope you stay ahead of